Hello, hello, hello. I hope everyone is having a good day. I hope everyone is enjoying this Friday, September 24th, whatever time of day it is for you. We'll be starting in about 20 seconds. Just going to, of course, do a little check here to make sure everything is working. Yeah, sounds good. Awesome. So we're going to talk about aging in about 6 seconds. We'll get started and we'll have a little English class about aging. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson where I'm going to talk about aging. So aging is the process whereby we get old. Those are a lot of big words, aren't they? It's the process of getting old as you go through life. Aging is something that I'm slowly becoming an expert on as time goes by. When I was younger, when I was in my teens or when I was in my 20s, I didn't know a lot about aging. But certainly now that I am 50, I am starting to become an expert on aging, which again is the process of getting older. So in this English lesson, I'll teach you some words and phrases that you could use to talk about aging. Before we get started, though, I do want to say hi to Todd, the Canadian, who is here to moderate the chat. I want to say hi to Island Resort and Audie. Sean from Free 99 English is here as well. Sean says he had his headset on and forgot he was waiting, and all of a sudden I started talking. Hi to Rod, the English teacher, as well. Scrolling back, hi to Lolly Lolly and Marcos and Mode Eggs and Linda and Paco-san and Anuat and Key Park, and Judith is here as well, and so many more regulars and members. Good to see all of you. So aging, again, not a topic that I'm an expert on, but I certainly know a lot more now than I used to. The other thing I wanted to mention is that if you have a question about aging and only about the topic, use the link to ask it, and I will try to answer as many questions as possible. And if your question is not about aging, I will most likely skip it, but you can ask it tomorrow at the next live stream. Hi to Dave, the Canadian, as well. Dave and Todd, both here, the longtime veteran moderators of the Bob the Canadian chat. So that is nice to see both of them as well. Hey, Brett's here from American English with this guy. Brent says bald. That's actually one word that I don't have on my slides. I got a lot of the other ones, but I forgot a couple. But let's get started. The biggest question that I got a few messages from people saying that I spelled the word aging wrong, that it has an E in it. So I put some flags here for you. The word aging has two spellings in English. You can say aging or aging, they're pronounced the same. But if you are in America and most of Canada, you would spell it without an E. It sounds to me from my research that if you live in Britain, or some Canadians still spell it with an E. So it's not a typo on the title. Aging can be spelled without an E in North America or with an E. So just kind of pay attention to where you are. And again, to define aging, aging is the process of getting older. As time goes by, humans get older, other animals get older, but aging is that process. The aging process, some people say the aging process is not kind. You get older, you get wiser, but physically things get more difficult to do. We have a few other ways to talk about this. Probably the most common way that we describe it is getting old. Like, yes, my mom is getting old, or I'm getting old. We sometimes say feeling old as well. It's pretty common for me to work on the farm all day, and at the end of the day, I'm sore, and I say to Jen, "Oh, I'm getting old," or I might say, "Oh, I'm feeling old today." But getting old is probably the most common one. You know, my parents are getting old. They might need to move into a retirement home, or, "Wow, I'm getting old. Soon I will be retired." Old age is another way to describe it. So as you approach old age, we talk about old age when we talk about ourselves as something in the future. So as someone who is 50, I would say that I'm approaching old age. In about 10 or 15 years, I might describe myself as being old, but right now I'm approaching old age. Even though my hair is gray, even here, I still am not considered old. Let's see here. Over the hill. So this used to be when you were over the age of 40, but I'm wondering now if over the hill is actually closer to 45 or 50. We use the phrase over the hill to talk about being halfway through your life. Usually on your 40th birthday, people will say, you're over the hill now. And it's a phrase kind of describing that life is a hill and you climb up. And then when you get to the top, you're over the hill. So it really is just a unique English phrase for referring to the halfway point in your life. I would be considered over the hill if you were talking to me in English. And then, of course, gray hair. Now, gray has two spellings as well. You can spell it G-R-A-Y or G-R-E-Y. In Canada, both spellings are acceptable. But certainly, you can see, by example, I can't even point to the right side of my head, that my hair is getting gray. Gray hair is a very common thing. And then mentioned in the chat, and I forgot to put a slide up, is that people get bald. Men suffer from baldness as they get older. I'm a little worried. I'm not sure if that's a bald spot right there. You see this little white line? It might just be hair that's a little more gray. It's hard to look at it, but I might be starting to bald. I don't think, I don't know. My mom's dad, my grandfather on my mom's side, had a full head of hair and he lived to be in his 70s. So I hope that genetically I take after him. We'll have to see. So far, so good. I'm not balding. Anyways, gray hair, definitely a sign of getting older. And then wrinkles. If I was to zoom the camera way in, you would notice that I have wrinkles beside my eyes. You can see a few wrinkles on my forehead. If I try to raise my eyebrows, I'm probably freaking everyone out. But as you get older, you get more and more wrinkles. So I actually think wrinkles are kind of cool. I know some people like to put cream on and they like to try to stop the wrinkles. But I figure as I age, as I get older, as I approach old age, it's just going to be par for the course, is what we would say. You're going to get wrinkles. You can't really stop them. And then you might lose your teeth. This is becoming less common in many parts of the world because we have fluoride in our water and we have fluoride in our toothpaste. Like for myself, I still have all my teeth. My dad and my uncles, most of them didn't have their teeth when they were older. Their teeth slowly, I guess they had them pulled, and then they got what's called dentures or false teeth. So not as common, still common in some places in the world. As you get older, you might lose your teeth, but becoming less common. And then, yes, you would wear either false teeth or dentures. So my dad had his bottom teeth, but he wore false teeth. His top teeth, he had false teeth. So it was always funny because he would a lot of times take his false teeth out and put them in his pocket. I don't know why. And then sometimes they would fall out of his pocket. So anyways, just a funny story about my dad and his false teeth. I've tried to take really good care of my teeth. I go to the dentist regularly, so hopefully I don't end up with false teeth, but if I do, I do. And then probably the biggest thing as you age, one of the things that happens when you are aging is you have aches and pains. Sometimes they are mysterious. Sometimes your shoulder hurts or your knee hurts or your hip hurts and you don't know why. You don't remember what you did. Maybe you just did a quick movement. I know a year ago, I turned my head really fast and all of a sudden I had a pain in my neck. And I don't know, I didn't really do anything to deserve that. And then of course, poor eyesight. I have my reading glasses here. A number of years ago, put these on for a sec. A number of years ago, I didn't need reading glasses. I could read without glasses, no problem. But slowly but surely, my vision when trying to read things started to fade. Like if I had to read something this small, I'm not sure if it's going to focus on that. It might. No, it likes my face better. If I had to focus on something that small, right now I need reading glasses to read something like that. So poor eyesight can happen at any age, but definitely starts to happen a bit more as you get older. So we have a phrase in English, to age gracefully. And what this kind of refers to is that you just take aging as something normal in life, that you don't try to fight it. You try to stay healthy, you eat healthy and you exercise, but that you're okay with all of the things that happen as you get older. I'm trying to age gracefully. I'm looking forward to eating healthy and exercising, but if at a certain point in my life, I'm not able to do certain things, I hope that I can accept them. Hopefully you understood that phrase, to age gracefully. And then of course there's retirement. So there are some things that are actually cool about aging. There are some things that are cool about getting older. And one of those is that eventually you don't need to work anymore. It depends on how well you've planned for retirement. It might depend on whether your children, as they get older, are going to take care of you. But retirement is certainly something a lot of older people I work with look forward to retirement. They are excited about retirement. Some of them can't wait to retire in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. When am I going to retire? I don't know. I think I like working too much. I think I might go all the way to 65, maybe even a year or two. I will most likely, though, work a bit less. I might semi-retire. When you semi-retire, it means that you work half-time or you work part-time. There are a lot of teachers that do this. Instead of teaching full-time, they semi-retire and then they just teach 1 or 2 classes each semester. That might be an interesting solution for me. Hey, let's look at a few questions. Let me get a sip of water here. Oh, I'm spilling water. Maybe that's a sign of old age. Maybe I'm not holding my cup properly, Let's get to some of the questions. First question's from TryptoPal. Hello, Bob. Could you share some phrases or idioms on aging? Happy 50th birthday. Yeah, I turned 50 this past summer. That's crazy. Eh? I don't feel 50. I'll talk about some later. I have a couple, I think, but the one that I like the best is the phrase young at heart. So even though you're old, in your mind and in your heart, your emotions and your feelings are like a younger person. I think I'm definitely young at heart most days. Some days I'm like a cranky old man, but some days I'm young at heart. Next question is from, hi Bob, you are getting older. What are your thoughts on this? Does aging make life more precious for you? Yes, definitely. What I've noticed is time seems to be going faster. The older I get, time flies. That's literally how I feel. I feel like if I don't take the time each day to enjoy each day, a whole bunch of days go by really quickly. So definitely, as you get older, time seems to move more quickly. It's kind of a funny experience. Let's see here. Next question from Ruslan. Hi, Ruslan. Hi, Teacher Bob. What is the secret to being young and healthy? I'm going to add being there. To being young and healthy as long as possible, in your opinion. By the way, Canada is in 16th place in life expectancy. The secret to being young and healthy, I think you need to enjoy your job if you're still working. I think you need to enjoy your spouse if you're married. And I think you have to find ways to connect with and enjoy your children, because as children get older, they have their own interests and you can grow apart. I just think that's very important. There was a time where I didn't visit my mom and dad for a few years, and then I slowly started to visit them again. So I think it's eat healthy, exercise, and make sure you spend time with the people who are important to you. Just give me one moment here. I got to get my, I don't have my slides up on my second monitor, so I know where I'm at. I think we're doing fine though. Okay, next question. This is from Kamlesh. Hello, sir. Lots of love from India. In which age? So at what age? That's how we're going to say that. At what age Do the people of Canada stop working? Usually at 65. Some people work till they're 70. Some people take early retirement at age 55 or 60. It depends where you work. Many people who work in the car factories, they will retire at 55 or 60 and they'll get a pension. Teachers usually retire around 60 or 65. But I think in general, like my mom retired, I think, at 66. She worked till she was 66 or 67. So it really depends. But the normal retirement age is 65. Let's see here. Lolly lolly. Bonjour, Bob. J'ai peur. I'm afraid of aging. How about you, Bob? I'm not afraid of aging in the sense that I think I'll enjoy being older. I'm afraid that my body won't physically be able to do what I want to do. That's probably my biggest fear. I love walking. I like being able to drive. As you get older, sometimes you lose the ability to do certain things. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I think that's what I'm not afraid of being 70 years old. I'm not afraid of being 80 or 90. I just want to be healthy, alert. Like I want my brain to work and I want to be active for sure. Hey, before we get to the next question, hi to all the 470 people watching. If you're new here, please click this red subscribe button. There it is. And you'll get notified when I do a new lesson. And give me a thumbs up, people. I don't know if anybody's done that yet. I'll do a little audio check and then I'll get to the next question. Winter Wright says, hi, Bob. I really enjoy your classes. That's awesome, Winter. Thanks for the positive feedback. What new thing do you intend to learn when you retire? Well, I would like to learn another language. And as much as this might seem silly, when I retire, I want to perfect my French. So I do speak French and I speak it quite well. But I think when I retire, I might spend a long, a big amount of time either in Quebec or France every year, like up to 4 or 5 weeks, just so I'm immersed in that language. But I might try to learn Chinese as well. We'll see. And there's a few other things. When I was young, I liked making things out of wood. I like to do woodworking. So I might do that as well. We'll see. I don't always have the patience, though, to do that. Sukaina says, getting old is like climbing a mountain. You get a little bit out of breath, but the view is much better. Which positive aging quotes is your favorite? Thank you, Mr. Bob. I don't have one off the top of my head, but I do like the one, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I think that applies to me a lot. Getting my sleep right now is the best thing. So again, the new version of that, sorry, I used the gender neutral one, is early to bed, early to rise makes someone healthy, wealthy, and wise. I don't know if it makes you wealthy, but it makes you healthy. Next question from 27-year-old. I don't want to get old. What should I do to stay young? Surround yourself with people who you really enjoy, family or friends. When I'm with a large group of people, people I like when Jen's family visits, when my family visits and we sit around a campfire, I don't feel old. I just feel like I'm enjoying life. So surround yourself with people that you love. Yaroslav, morning, the wisest teacher, Bob. What's the secret of your healthy lifestyle? You look very young. Thanks. Take care. Well, first of all, Yaroslav, for the last 3 weeks, I have not been a very healthy person. I have not been walking regularly and I've been eating really bad food. Some of you probably noticed my cheeks are a little bigger. I'm getting putting a little bit of weight on. The secret is to think about how you want to feel when you're older. So for me, what encourages me or motivates me to eat healthy and to walk regularly is I think about when I'm 70, I want to be able to walk 5 kilometers every day. When I'm 80 and I drop something, I want to be able to bend down and pick it up. So I think a lot about the future and the things I can do so I'm the things I can do now so I'm healthy then. Ario is here. Hi, Ario. Hola, Mr. Bob. All people would be experiencing aging later in life. Fact of life, right? Yeah, you can't stop aging. Once you hit your 30s and 40s, you start to realize you're getting older. And when you're in your 40s and 50s, you really become aware of the fact that you're getting older. You cannot avoid getting old, that's for sure. Modags in the chat says, chubby cheeks makes you look more cute. Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. I need to get walking again. I'll go tomorrow morning before the live stream for sure. Let's see here. And then the question in the chats from Mode. Hi, prestigious Mr. Bob. In your opinion, what are both the upside and the downside of being older as opposed to being younger? I wish you good health and a happy life. So the upside to being older is you have a lot of life experience. If someone asks your opinion about something, you probably can give good advice because you've experienced it. Young people don't always want advice, but it's nice to be able to give it when they ask. And then the downside is just your health. Like the downside is the fact that I need reading glasses and I had heart surgery 4 years ago and all those other things that come with getting older. So we'll do one more question and back to the lesson. This is from Henry from Taiwan. Hi, Henry. Hi, Teacher Bob. What age do you think is ideal for a person's lifespan? Being old in bed isn't a quality life. Thank you. Well, I think it just depends on how healthy you are. I would love to live to be 80 or 90 or more and be healthy, but we don't have a lot of control over that. So ideally, I know when I was young, my grandparents, they died when they were in their 70s. That seems young to me now. Most people these days, if they die in their 60s or 70s, it seems very early. When people die in their 80s or 90s, we feel like we might say they had a full life at that point. So, okay, let me get back to the lesson. Where am I at? Retirement, free time. So one thing that Jen and I don't have a lot of right now is free time. Jen and I have 5 children. We both work. Jen runs the flower farm. I'm a teacher and I do YouTube. We do that because we need to provide for our family. It's important when you're a parent to work so that you have money to buy food and to have a house and those kinds of things. But Jen and I are both looking forward to, already in about 10 years, we'll have a little more free time. For sure, in about 15 years, when I'm 65, we will have a bit more free time. So that is one of the positive and cool things about aging. You also hopefully will have a pension. Now, this depends on what country you live in. It depends on what job you had. Teachers actually have a fairly nice pension plan. It's not amazing, but when I'm paid at work, a small amount of my paycheck automatically goes into a pension plan. And when I retire, I will get a certain amount of money every month from my pension plan. So another bonus or benefit of aging is that eventually you retire and you have a pension. There are a lot of names for the place where you can live when you're older. We call them old age homes or retirement homes. And there's kind of 2 types of homes you can move into. What I mean by old age home or retirement home is a place you move into when you're old, and you usually have a small apartment, and you live in the same building as many other older people, okay? Generally, an old age home or retirement home is a place you move to when you're still healthy or relatively healthy. But if you are old and you need care, you will probably move into a nursing home or a care home. Again, I'm not sure what it's like in the rest of the world. In Canada, we have many, many names for these places. We call it the old age home, the retirement home, the nursing home, the care home. We also call it the old folks home, or we call it a home. So you might hear people my age. So in a few years, my brothers and sisters and I will probably start to talk about whether we should talk to my mom about moving into a home. which doesn't mean a house. When you talk about an old person and you talk about whether they should move into a home, you're talking about an old age home, retirement home, nursing home, care home, or old folks home. My mom has her own house, but at some point in the future, because she's aging just like the rest of us, she will probably start to think about moving into an old folks home. Some of her friends already live in a retirement home, so we'll see. And when I said there's a lot of names, there's a lot of different names. We call it a retirement village. We call it an old age village, an old age home, a care home. It seems to me like there's 6 or 7 names for them. But anyways, sounds like they're fun places to live, especially when you're able to play cards with other people and do some of your hobbies and enjoy the company. Probably a lot more challenging if you are in a nursing home or care home and need regular care. So again, a nursing home or care home will probably have nurses there every day. They will probably have a doctor that comes every day. And it's for people who just physically need help. Because now we're flipping to some of the negatives. As you get older, you become less agile. When you're agile, it means you can move quickly. Like someone who's agile, if I dropped, let's say my glasses, they fell and I caught them, I would be able to catch them because I'm agile. I can still move quickly and do things. But as you get older, you become less agile. I've already started to experience this a little bit. I need to stretch a lot more after I exercise. You become less attentive. So physically, your body changes as you age. The aging process, your body just gets older, but your mind as well can start to deteriorate a little bit. And you might have trouble paying attention to the things that are happening around you. We also have a phrase in English, to be with it or to be less with it. Sometimes as people get older, and this is kind of sad, they have trouble thinking and doing the things they normally do. And we might say they're less with it. When you're less with it, maybe you can't remember where you put your car keys all the time. Maybe you're always losing things. We would say that you're just not that with it, or you're less with it. That's something I do not look forward to as I age. I do not want to become less attentive or less with it. That scares me a lot. And then I used this phrase earlier. I want to be young at heart all the time. So you can see these 2 people are on swings, something that normally children would go on. But this couple is obviously young at heart. They're an older couple. You can tell by the gray hair, and you can tell that they've gone for a walk. They're probably at the playground, and they decided to sit on the swings and swing back and forth. So they're doing something that children normally do. So I would say they are young at heart. And then when people live a really long time, we describe it as that they lived to a ripe old age. About half a year ago, someone that I knew who was in their 90s passed away. And you would say they lived to the ripe old age of 92, or they lived to a ripe old age. So it's kind of funny because you use ripe to describe fruit, right? When fruit grows, eventually it's ripe and you can pick it. But we also use this phrase to talk about people who live a very long time. Like, oh, he lived to the ripe old age of 97, or he lived to a ripe old age. He was 102 when he passed away. That's how old I want to be, 102. I don't think that's going to happen. We have a few different words for describing people who are old. We might say that they are a senior. We might say that they are a senior citizen. Basically, the word senior in English means anyone who is over 60, 65, we would call a senior. As soon as you're close to retirement age, we would say that you're a senior. And I think you get some discounts. There's some restaurants where seniors get 5% off on Tuesday mornings. There's some stores where you get a senior discount, where if you're 65 or older, you get a discount. So being a senior has its perks as well. And then senior citizen, I think, is just a longer way of saying senior. You know, you can have, there's a lot of senior citizens that voted in our election this week because seniors really like to vote, which is good. I wish everyone voted more. And then we have the phrase elderly. For me, the word elderly refers to someone who is like in their late 70s or 80s or 90s. When I think of an elderly person, I think of someone who's really, really old. When I think of someone in their 60s or 70s, they seem, I would just say they're seniors or senior citizens. And don't quote me on this. This is just my definition. But definitely when I think of someone who is elderly, I think of someone who has trouble walking, maybe has trouble like even doing buttons on their shirt. That's what I think of when I think of someone who is elderly. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to I'm going to switch to members only chat. Give me a second to get to that setting. As I do that, I want to just push this button on my camera so it turns back on. It doesn't turn off for you, but it turns off for me. I got to figure out how to stop that. And let me do an audio check for a sec. Awesome. So we are in members only chat mode. If you are a member of the channel, please feel free to ask questions directly in the chat right now. If you're not a member, if you're one of the 639 people watching, stick around. The lesson will start again in a few minutes, but I'm going to answer some questions while we wait. Let me get a new question on the screen. I'm going to skip the next one because the words, yeah, okay. I'm going to go to this one instead. Here we go. So this is from Judith. I'm over here right now. Emotions can have an effect on aging, like being acrid, corrosive, and mordant. Can you explain the process? So those words are very uncommon in English. But when you are someone who has negative emotions your whole life, you are someone who, I actually have to look this one up for a sec to make sure I pronounced it correctly. It might be more common in British English, by the way. Acrid, yes. Having an irritatingly strong and unpleasant taste or smell, but we can use it to describe people as well. Certainly emotions can affect, I think, your health, especially your mental health. Having a positive outlook on life is always a way better thing. Next question is from Vara. Hi, Bob. I am 9 years old. Do you remember something when you were 9 years old? Yes. Actually, on my other channel today, there's a video out where I show a place where I rode a bike down a hill and hit my head when I was about 9 or 10. So definitely I remember that. Okay, over to the chat questions. Norma says, oh, just saying hi to Hiro Yuki. Rod says, dear Mr. Bob, it might be fate. You have meeting another fan subscriber named Rodrigo, isn't it? Have a great one. Yes, I met someone for the first time. Someone said, hello, are you Bob the Canadian? And I was like, yes. It was very, very fun to chat with someone who met me in the parking lot the other day. Let's see. Linda, Bob, you should do a lesson about youth. Oh, I should put that on the list. The joys of youth. Alcida says, audio okay. Mode Ag says, hi, Mr. Bob. I'm glad you reintroduced yourself and explain what's up every live lesson, because I kind of forgot what this is all about. Thankfully, I still remember some English. I was told that, and I agree with this, that when you're doing something like this on the internet, a lot of people are familiar with it, but there's always new people. So I always try to remember there's some new people who might not know. As you get older, Mode, I'll explain it every week so that you don't forget as well, because as you age, you might forget things. Julia says, hi, dear teacher. Don't you think that women are getting old faster than men? What's your opinion? That's a tricky one, because what I've noticed is that men and women, once they get to age 65 or 70, they both start to look really old. I think there's something that happens in your mid 60s. I think up to age 60 or 65, even though you have gray hair, men and women, you can still look really good. And then past 65 seems to be where things start to go downhill, we would say in English. Key Park, I'm getting older but enjoy aging. I believe I'm young at heart. Hope I could age gracefully. I hope you do too, Key Park. Eugene from Etobicoke says, good morning, Mr. Bob. Do you know any medicine that can keep people young? Laughter is the best medicine, and laughter and enjoying life will keep you young. I guarantee it. Maria C. Hello, Bob. How are you? Do you like when your birthday arrives? Do you celebrate or not? I used to celebrate my birthday when I was younger, but nowadays I don't even care when it's my birthday. I do celebrate it with Jen and the kids. It's not a day where I'm like when I was 12 or 13 years old, I loved my birthday, but now it's kind of like, I usually have a small party with my sister and my siblings because my sister and I, our birthdays are close together. So we have one party for both of us. And I do enjoy that. We usually have a campfire at her house or my house. So let's see here. Mode says to Sean from Free 99 English, I'm glad you're with us today to give Brent some counseling on going bald. The poor guy doesn't deserve to have a receding hairline. Yes, sometimes hair falls out. Sometimes you slowly go bald. Let me see here. I think I scrolled too far. Mr. Bob is now officially famous. Sure. Hello, Mr. Bob from Marwanto. Hi, Marwanto. Linda says, guys, live our lives to the fullest. That's what this lesson makes me think. I agree, Linda. Live your life to the fullest. Lolly's saying hi to Adi. Madi, actually. Let's see here. Naomi, what is the most enjoyable leisure for the elderly in Canada? So for seniors, a lot of seniors play golf. A lot of them play lawn bowling, I think it's called. A lot of people, when they first retire, travel a lot. People retire at age 60, 65, and they're still healthy, so they travel a lot. When you say elderly, though, it makes me think of much older people. I think they enjoy things like playing board games with other people in the old age home, doing puzzles and those kinds of things, and still going for walks if they're able to. Audie the Thai, I heard from your lesson, is there a law in Canada forbidding people over age 50 to climb stairs, and what are the penalties? Well, there's no law forbidding that, but in the workplace, if you want to use a ladder at any age, you need training in Canada. If you are going to work at heights, you need work at heights training. But no, you can climb stairs. There's no law against that. SEO Wu says, hello, Bob. I'm happy to see you. Hi, SEO Wu. Norma says, hi to Maria C. Don't tell us you don't like your age. You are very young. Older people, sometimes when younger people say they feel old, then it kind of annoys me because I'm like, you're not old. I'm old. So, Maudie, sorry for the typo. Modag, serious deep question. What are your thoughts on midlife crisis? I think I'm too busy to have a midlife crisis. A midlife crisis is when, sometimes men in their 50s will buy a brand new sports car. Let me just check to make sure everything's working here. Okay. So my screen is frozen, but I think it's still working. So I'm just going to keep going. I'll keep an eye on things. Oh, now my headphones keep falling down. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to have to answer questions from this screen, and that's fine. So Madi says, no worry, Lolly. Maria C says, the most famous man on YouTube. No. Ricardo says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you? I think the most important is the mental age, because then you can maintain healthy, be safe, and have a good weekend. Thank you, Ricardo. I agree. Keep your brain healthy as well as your body. Mode Eggs. Oh, Sean's asking Mode Eggs a question. Julia says, it comes when you are not expecting. Yes. Let's see here. Mickey says, hey, Mr. Bob, even though I'm still 24, I've got afraid of getting older without raising kids and having my own family. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. Well, I would say this is hard to do during a pandemic, but find things you can do with other people as soon as it's safe to do so. That's what I would recommend. Oh, good. My software is working again. Okay, folks. I need to jump back to the lesson in a sec. Let me get through these questions. Let's see here. Maria C says, I feel much younger, but I just don't like to celebrate anymore. Don't know why. Do you like to celebrate? Good question to Norma from Maria C. Modag says to Sean, don't know. A lot of people have been asking about my age. All I can say is that I'm less than a century years old, and I'm both young enough to be silly and old enough to know better. Good one. That's a good way to say it. Old enough to know better. Let's see here. And Dave says, yep, the stream is still working for me. Yeah, I had a full lock on Streamlabs, Dave, but it seems to be back now. So that's good. And no dropped packets. So that's nice. All good from Sean. Thanks, Sean. Madi, hello, Bob. What age do you think we call it aging? I think you definitely feel like you're aging when you get into your 40s. I think that's when you start talking about aging. Like, I've really started aging. I think for me, when I was in my 30s, I didn't feel like I was aging, but in my 40s, I was definitely feeling it. Modag says, sorry to overwhelm you, Mr. Bob. We're quite chatty today. And that is awesome. I like it that everyone is chatty. Hey, let me get, though, to the point where I can turn off members only chat. As I do that, I do want to say thank you to all of my members. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being members, for clicking that join button below or wherever it is, and for supporting my channel. You guys are awesome. Let's, though, get back to the lesson. You'll notice I've been talking about positive things and negative things about the aging process. When you get older, one of the negative things is you might experience loneliness. If you are married and have children, it still doesn't guarantee that you won't be lonely when you're older. Sometimes your spouse gets sick and passes away. Sometimes kids don't talk to their older parents. And sometimes older people end up living and not seeing people very often. I personally think it's very important to visit older people all the time. And I say that because when I'm old, I want people to visit me. I do not want to experience loneliness when I am older. I think it's important for old people, anyone actually, to have hobbies. You can see this couple, it looks like they've started to learn to dance. I would hope that when I'm older, I can do something like that as well. Learn new things, learn new hobbies, learn new games to play with the people that are around me. And I think it's important to stay active. In English, we often use the phrase, you need to keep busy or you need to stay active. When you say keep busy, it means that you have things to do. It means that you find things to fill your day. My mom volunteers. I'll talk about volunteering later. She doesn't have a job anymore, but she does go and she works in a thrift store. And my mom tries to stay active. She tries to walk every day and those kinds of things. So I think staying active and keeping busy, when you stay active, it's good for your body. When you keep busy, it's good for your brain. As I mentioned, a lot of younger older people, see, I hope that made sense to you. People who retire at age 60 or 65 will often immediately start to travel if they have enough money to do that. Because when you're 65, you're usually physically able to go on airplanes and walk around large cities. It's fun to be a tourist when you are retired and when you're still healthy enough to do those kinds of things. So a lot of people who retire will immediately travel before they get so old that it becomes difficult for them. So definitely a common activity. Another thing that happens as you age, one of the things about the aging process or aging is that you end up taking more and more medication. So you might be taking medication for high blood pressure. You might be taking medication because you had heart surgery in the past. You might be taking medication so that you don't have to have heart surgery. You might be taking medication to bring your cholesterol down. So those of you that work in the medical field are aware that as people get older, they definitely start to take more medications. So medicine, pills, drugs, medication, there's a lot of words for it in English. You might need to use a cane. You might need to use a cane because one of your hips doesn't work very well anymore, or maybe one of your knees doesn't work well, or you're just having trouble keeping your balance. And you might need a cane when you walk. This is something that I used a long time ago. When I was a kid, I actually sprained my ankle really badly, and I had to use a cane for 4 weeks. It was interesting. I felt like I was old, even though I was quite young. You might need a caregiver. So if your health problems are really serious, you might need a nurse or someone who is called a caregiver to come and visit you in your home every day. Maybe you are on certain medications that they have to give you with a needle. Maybe you just need help getting dressed or going to the washroom. You might have a caregiver that either lives in your home or comes and visits you. This is not super common. It's usually for people who have really serious illnesses when they're older. But you might have someone that we would call a caregiver. I really like this guy. I like this picture. You might have to take a regular driving test. I believe in Ontario, Canada, when you are 80 years old, if you want to keep your driver's license, you have to go for a test every 2 years. I'll double check that later, but I'm pretty sure that's the law in many provinces in Canada. So if you're 80 and you're still driving, every 2 years you have to go for a vision test, and you might have to actually go for an in-car test. You might have the instructor sit beside you, and you might have to go for an in-car test. But certainly as you get older, regular driving tests are important. You might go to the doctor for a regular checkup. This is something most people start doing at age 50 or 55. Instead of waiting until you feel sick, you usually go to the doctor once every year or every 2 years for a regular checkup. I don't go for a regular checkup to my normal doctor. I go to a heart doctor for a regular checkup every year. But certainly one of the things that happens as you age, one of the things that's common for all people who are aging is that you need to go to the doctor more often. You might need things like hip replacements or knee replacements. I put these two on here in particular because most of the older people I know, well, not most, a lot of older people I know at some point get a hip replacement. So they get their hip replaced with a metal ball and pin, or they get a knee replacement. I think these are the two most common surgeries that I've heard of. I know some people have shoulder surgery, but generally I'll hear things like, oh, did you hear Aunt Julie had hip replacement surgery, or Uncle John had knee replacement surgery? Very, very common in North America, and I would imagine in other parts of the world as well. So hip replacement and knee replacement. And then heart surgery is quite common. I had heart surgery not because I was old. I had heart surgery because I had a valve in my heart that wasn't working properly. But it is fairly common in North America for people when they get older to have heart problems. They might have heart disease, and at some point they might need heart surgery. And then back to a more positive aspect, as I mentioned, older people sometimes volunteer. They retire, but they want to keep busy. They want to do something so that they can get out of the house. That's another common English phrase. My mom likes to keep busy. She volunteers because she likes to get out of the house. And so she volunteers at a thrift store. A thrift store is a place where people donate old clothing and books and household items. And then the thrift store cleans them up and sells them. And then the money is usually used for a charity or good cause. Like the money goes towards researching cancer or heart disease and those kinds of things. So a lot of older people will volunteer. And then, of course, it's nice to spend time with family. A lot of people, as they are aging, they realize that family is very important to them. And so as they eventually semi-retire or retire, they try to spend more time with family, especially if they have grandkids. It's very common in all places in the world for grandparents to spend time with grandkids. It's a lot of fun, I think, for grandparents to take care of grandkids, and then they're not totally in charge of them. You can give them back to your parents at the end of the day, to their parents, and you don't have to worry about them anymore. So spending time with family is a very, very common thing for people to do as they get older. That's the end of the lesson. Let me jump over. First, let me thank the 582 people watching. And then let's get to another question. Let me see how many questions I have. Oh, quite a few, but I'll see if I can answer them. Natalia says, Bob, do you use anti-aging creams or something? Greetings from the Dominican Republic. Obviously, Natalia is still on vacation. You guys don't know that, but it must be nice and warm there right now, by the way. Anyways, no, but I do use sunscreen. So when I go outside in the summer, I always, on my face and my ears and my nose and my neck and my arms, I wear sunscreen all the time. I don't use anything regularly, but like through the winter, but when I go in the sun, I wear protection for sure. Let me see here. Mickey says, hey Bob, how's it going? Do you think as people get older, they tend to feel a bit lonely? I love talking to old people. They usually have such a history to share with. Yes, you know, at our school, we have what's called Grandparents' Day once a year. And on that day, grandparents visit the school. And I find it fascinating to talk to older people. I would totally agree with you. They have a lot of cool stories to share, for sure. Let's see here. So Jin says the word quarter, dictionary pronunciation quarter, but in real life, is it quarter? Is it right? Could you please give some examples? Thank you so much. Okay, so in Ontario, Canada, in my area, we do still say quarter. You can hear Q, it's like a QW sound, like quarter. But I do know when I listen to Americans from certain parts of the US, it sounds more common to say quarter. Like how many quarters do you need? Like they're leaving the W out. This is very common, I think, in the Midwest. I don't think Brent's here. Brent's probably teaching. We could ask him. In Canada, at least in my part, it's definitely quarter. But I have heard on American TV, and when I talk to American relatives, I have heard them say quarter. Hopefully you can hear the difference there. So I think Americans have dropped the W sound on that. Bob's favorite student. Hi, Bob. What do you think when people are getting older and they are still acting like a child? Is it bad or good? It depends on the situation. Sometimes it's great. When I go to a family reunion and when my mom acts silly, I think it's awesome. The grandkids love it. But in life, in daily life, no, you should always act your age. Freddie from France says, hi, Bob. I have a cousin and a college. Oh, I have a cousin and a college friend, maybe, who had their hair white when they were about 30. Bad luck for them as they weren't old yet. You know, if you look at my older videos when I was in my late 40s, my hair isn't gray yet. So this is pretty recent for me. I'm happy it didn't happen when I was 30, but some people do get gray hair early and some people go bald early. Irfan, hey Bob, how to embrace getting old. Enjoy every day as much as you can. Make sure you are kind to people and make sure you keep yourself healthy, both physically and mentally. That's what I would say. Next question from Betty from the Crowded City. Hi, Teacher Bob. What would you do when you retire? Travel or teaching? Maybe both. I wish you the best. I might do both. I might travel a bit and I might do some online teaching. I haven't really thought it through yet. It really depends also on where my children live. If my children get older and live in different parts of Canada or the world, then I will probably travel with Jen a lot to visit them. Fyodor says, hello, Bob. What words would you use in English to describe old people who look and act young or the opposite? We would say that they are young at heart. But if they're acting childish, we might tell them to act their age. Marcos, hello, Teacher Bob. I hope you are doing well. What is the we use expectancy here. What is the life expectancy in Canada? I mean, at what age in general do people pass away in Canada? Well, let's look that up because it's different for men and women. Life expectancy in Canada. So in Canada, it looks like 82 years. Wow, that's pretty good. 80 years for males, 84 years old for females. So the life expectancy in Canada is men live to about 80, women to about 84. So there you go. Naomi T, hi Teacher Bob. As a kid, I didn't know that time could fly so fast. How about you? Thank you for answering our questions. When I was a kid, the summer seemed like it lasted forever. And now the summer's the summer's over like so quickly. It's kind of crazy. This is from Jezerbeck. Oh, life expectancy. So 80 for men, 84 for women. Let's see here. Sean from Free 99. Brent thinks going bald is bad. Can we ban him from your channel? LOL. Perhaps too serious, but what are your thoughts on ageism or ageism? So people sometimes treat older people badly because they're old. And I just feel like old people should always be treated with respect. They have lived a long life. They have contributed a lot to society. I think old people always deserve respect. Joseph says, one of my secret goals is still riding my unicycle when I'm 82. I hope it works. I hope it works too, Joseph. That sounds like a plan. Marwanto, hi, Mr. Bob. How do you keep healthy in older age? So apparently there's two things you need to do. You need to stay active, like you need to walk or run or work out, but you also need to work out your brain. So learn a language, do Sudokus, do crossword puzzles, do things that make you think every day. I think learning a language is probably a good one. Aryan says, hello, Mr. Bob. Lots of love from Bangladesh. My question is, after retirement, what do you want to do? I think travel. I don't know if I'll ever fully retire. We will probably still grow flowers here on the farm. I'll probably still teach English online somehow. So we'll have to see, but definitely travel a little bit at least. This is Arlon Joanne. Hi, Arlon. Hey there, Professor Bob. How are you? I hope well. I just would like to say that I'm a viewer and subscriber since the start. You're the best. You know, it's hard for me to believe that I started out with like 1 subscriber and then 10 and then 100 and then it kind of just kept growing and now it's like hundreds of thousands. It's crazy. So Arlon, thank you so much for being here from the beginning. Hi, Mr. Bob. Can we use ripening to describe people? Only in the phrase like a ripe old age. Like he lived to the ripe old age of 90. That's the only time I would use the word ripen. Let's see. So Marilla, how does the Canadian society treat the elderly people? In Romania, they are generally neglected. So in Canada, it's kind of a combination of people work hard so they have enough money to retire. There's also a government pension, but it's not very big. And some people rely still on their children taking care of them when they're older. And it's usually a combination of all three. Some older people have it really good because they have a pension, the government gives them a pension, and their children really help them. But we do have a problem with some older people don't have a lot of support. So it's probably similar to some other countries. It all depends on the situation. Rama says, hi, Bob. Thank you so much for this lesson. Could you talk a little bit about generation gap? I have it as a lesson for this year. So generation gap is the gap between generations. Let's get the full definition. It's the chasm. That's a big word that separates the beliefs and behaviors belonging to members of 2 different generations. So all I would say is this is every generation reinvents itself. Every generation has its own music, its own favorite movie. And I think it's actually healthy that that's how life works. I think the generation gap, the gap between generations, can actually be a good thing, because if everyone did the same thing, there would be nothing new in the world to talk about. Let's see here. From Note of Cash from Thailand. Hi, Bob. I'm 15 years old right now. I'm in my condo. Can you explain about loneliness? Yeah, so sometimes older people are very lonely. Maybe they were married their whole life and their spouse has died. And maybe they've just gotten a lot older than everyone else around them. I used to fix a computer for a guy who was in his 90s. Everyone he knew in life, all his friends, had passed away because he lived for so long. So he was I wouldn't say he was lonely. He did have a brother that he played chess with online. But certainly there's a number of different reasons why older people can be lonely. Maybe their kids don't visit. Maybe they never had children, and those kinds of things as well. Eva, hi Bob, how are you? Thank you for this interesting topic. I want to ask, have you ever encountered an old friend who lost contact with you later? How do you feel? Yes, every once in a while I do run into someone who I haven't seen. We would in English call them a long lost friend or an old friend from school. And generally it's just fun to meet people. Sometimes you lose track of people in life and you see them later on. Let's see here. This is from Jasirbeck. What do you think is the secret of staying you, even if you are getting old? Yeah, read, learn a language, exercise, keep fit, and surround yourself with people that you love and that love you. I think that's important. Isam says, do you think it is normal to feel anxious as people grow older? I think so. I think as I get older, the thing that makes me the most anxious, the thing that gives me anxiety is my health. I don't want to get COVID. I want my heart to work really well the rest of my life. I want my brain to keep working really well. So definitely it is very normal. And last question. Hi, Mr. Bob. What do you think about people dyeing their hair to have black hair again? Would you do that? So I think for some people, this works really well. I think some people, they enjoy getting their hair dyed, either, brown or black or whatever color it was. Would I do it? I don't think so. It doesn't mean I don't think it's cool. I know several people who, as they got older, they would dye their hair and it looked really, really nice. I think I wouldn't do it because I'm not that concerned. Okay, the real reason I wouldn't do it, I think it just takes too much time. I'm a busy person. I don't think I would want to sit and get my hair dyed. Maybe I should do that in a lesson. I should get my hair dyed and we'll see how young I look. But hey, that is the actual end of the lesson, everybody. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Todd and Dave for hanging out for an hour. Thanks to, I think Brent was here earlier from American English with this guy. And I know that Sean from Free 99 English is here. And Rod, the English teacher, was here in the chat as well. Thanks for hanging out. I'll say bye to a few people, to Judith and Mode Eggs and Norma and Al Gore and Linda and Madi. And let me scroll back a bit. Bye to everybody. I'm just looking through the names. Bye to Nightbot. There we go. Bye to, I think I've said everybody. Bye Ario. Bye Lucy. Bye Jay. Bye Keeman. Bye Winnie. I know there's so many more names. But hey, I'm 2 minutes past the time. I need to get to work. So thank you again so much for watching. Remember, this video will be out in a shorter version in a couple days. Do watch that once or twice just to practice your listening. It's good to listen to things more than once. So again, this actual video I edit. I take out the viewer questions. So come and watch that again. And then I'm just going to check. There is a live lesson tomorrow at 11. But I think it's going to be inside. Sorry about that. The forecast for tomorrow: sunny, increasing cloudiness early in the morning with showers beginning near noon. Risk of a thunderstorm in the late morning and in the early afternoon. Wind becoming strong, southwest 70 kilometers. I'm going to be doing the lesson inside tomorrow. So join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll do a live Q&A lesson, question and answer lesson. Anyways, Last thing, if you're one of the 616 people watching and you've not subscribed, click that red subscribe button. You'll be, I guarantee you'll be happy when you get notified of new videos. Anyways, bye everybody. Have a great Friday. I'm going to go to work and I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my day. I hope you enjoy your Friday too. Bye.